My name is Eugenia Leigh. I'm a senior poetry editor here at the Adroit Journal. Welcome to our issue 56 launch reading. Our issue will be released later this week, and so I'm so excited for you to check it out. In addition to the many people who've joined us in the room, we also have Heidi Seaborn, our executive editor. We have Elena Friedman, our marketing director, and we also have Ananya Shah, our events coordinator. I think they're each waving from their little windows. And welcome here from, I see people in the chat who are joining from Chicago, Maryland, New York City, North Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us. We will get started. We have four readers today, and then I will also read a poem from one of our readers who was not able to join this evening. So we will get started, and I will read the bio of our first reader this evening. First up, we have Eugenia Dame. Eugenia Dame's fiction appears in Zoetrope, All Story, Plowshares, Virginia Quarterly Review, The Southern Review, Subtropics, and Joyland. Her nonfiction and interviews have been published in Electric Literature and New England Review Online. Dame was a 2020-2022 Wallace Stegner Fellow in Fiction at Stanford University, where she now teaches in the Continuing Studies program. Her work has received support from the Maine Arts Commission and Monson Arts. She is the associate editor of the Three Penny Review. Please give it up for our first reader, Eugenia Dame.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. Hi, everyone. I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to read a short section. How is my sound, by the way? You guys just need to, need me to adjust. I only read from paper because I can't, I'm not good at reading from screen. So if it looks weird because my background is blurred. So I'm sorry. I hope there's like no weird things that's going to happen. So I'm just going to read a short scene from a story that appears in issue 56. The only things you need to know is that this is set in a Russian college in the early aughts. There are going to be two Russian girls in college who are taking obligatory class in a Korean massage technique. I know it sounds very fun, strange, but it's kind of the reality. My narrator is all the girls are sorted into groups, and the higher your number is, the better your English is. So she's from group 7, and she kind of looks down on everybody else. I'm just mentioning this because it will be relevant. Um, and there is a girl named Veronika, which I kind of keep wanting to say Veronica, but in Russian it's Veronika. So, okay, here it goes. This is later in the story after when they meet for the second time. I don't see Veronica again until the night of the free class. It's called Korean Massage Techniques, which sounds exciting until I show up for the first session, and it's our same old coach, rolling rickety gurneys into a storage area behind the gym, handing out peely flannel bed sheets that look like he stole them from a nursery. Mine is printed with little blue elephants. When I look up, Veronica is at my side. "Hello, snobster," she says. "Stuck with me, are you?" When she speaks, there is a glop glop of bubble gum pushed around her mouth. Now that her face isn't red and puffy from doing sit-ups, I see how beautiful it is. There is something neat and open about it, like the first page in a notebook, where the handwriting is still good and unhurried. Her hair is black and shiny, like a car door. I'm not impressed by physical beauty, just so you know. I respond only to linguistic charm, the kind that comes, for instance, from knowing when to contract an auxiliary verb in its negative form. I'm just trying to convey that Veronica is, objectively speaking, a very pretty girl. "You should toss that," I tell her. "Gum interferes with the ability to produce authentic English sounds. That's what Professor Mishina told us. Not that anybody in Group 7 would even dream of chewing gum anymore." "We're not in class," Veronica says. "Chill." But then she spits her gum into a wrapper and totters to the trash can in her heels. I've been thinking about those heels a lot. Took me a couple of hours flipping through the dictionary, but I found just the right word for them: vertiginous. The room smells of rubber balls and bike tires. Right, Coach coughs. So, sujok is the ancient Korean technique of physical therapy. Its name comes from su meaning hand and jok meaning foot. The class will meet once a week on Mondays. He digs around in his pocket for a folded piece of paper. I've never heard Coach talk in complete sentences before. I'm itching to share with him some tips on the art of public speaking that Professor Mishina posted on our classroom wall, but I keep quiet. My group's strive for perfection has been misinterpreted before. Besides, I don't want Veronica to call me a snobster again. The objective of this course, Coach reads, is to master a useful way of relieving another's pain. Yeah, right, Veronica whispers, like no one is here to avoid gym for the rest of the year. She's got a point. No one wants to be in gym, especially since Coach made us jump around on pogo sticks. But gym is obligatory at the Samara Teacher Training University, so here we are. I had a whole other reason to sign up for Korean massage techniques, but I'm not about to tell Veronica that. Coach goes around breaking us into pairs. Then he tells us to take our tops off. Veronica's hand shoots up. What about a bra? She asks. She doesn't even blush. The back must be free of any impediment, Coach says. 2 minutes to get in position, he adds, before leaving the room. Veronica and I stretch the bedsheet over the massage table. I'm trying to remember when I last shaved my armpits or had a room of strangers stare at my naked torso. Want to rock, paper, scissors the whole thing, I ask. Nah, I owe you one, Veronica says after a beat and shimmies out of her turtleneck. She climbs on the table and rolls over on her stomach. I wonder what it is she saw in my eyes in that one moment. The room looks like a beach party, except no one is having fun. The backs that emerge are broad and pale, already giving back the little tan they acquired in the summer. Veronica unhooks her bra and I help her pull her arms out of the straps. She has a pimple over her shoulder. Oh, sorry. She has a pimple over her shoulder blade and a patch of dead skin, a tuberculosis shot. I struggle to arrange her arms. I try stretching them along her sides, then move them closer to her body, but Veronica's got 2 cups on every other girl in the room. No matter what I do, there's that side boob. Leave it, she says. It's fine. I stare at her back, as if it could spell out the secret to being Veronica, to being pretty and uncomplicated. But her back offers no answer. It is smooth and unremarkable, an average back, no different from mine. Coach returns with a bottle of Johnson's baby oil. He pours a little into our cupped hands and tells us to rub it in to get the circulation going. I count 8 other pairs in the room, all girls. Teacher Training University might not be officially designated a women's school, but no man in our city would stoop low enough to teach. What worries me is I'm the only one from Group 7. My classmates get to stay home, make flashcards, study Murphy's grammar, and here I am, rubbing baby oil into Veronica's back. I go up and down her spine, palms splayed, thumbs out for pressure. 3-stroke, Coach says, 1 to the waist, 1 to mid-back, 1 to the shoulder. I set my palms on edge and move them sideways like a skater doing long strides. Coach shows us where to dig into a shoulder blade for a cartilage. You'll know you hit it when it vibrates lightly under your fingers, he says. He goes around the room, making sure everyone's found the spot. We rub the shoulder blade, we rub the shoulders and press our elbows into the tight knot on each side of the neck. That nexus of anger and worry, of bad love and bad home. We nudge the muscles that run like cables along the spinal cord. Under my hands, Veronica's skin grows red, a record of each finger path. She doesn't say much, just winces once I get to her lower back. Here, my thumbs burrow into small indentations above her butt. That one really hurts, she says. Sedentary lifestyle, Coach remarks from the center of the room. He shows us where not to put our hands, never, unless we want to make the other person a cripple. Here, 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 he says, his open palm hovering above the back of some Group 2 girl. It hasn't occurred to me that what we're learning can hurt, that this useless, senseless thing I signed up for has the power to wreck someone's life. Coach tells us that during a session, a patient is likely to fall asleep, and that is why the closing move is meant to gradually bring them back. Relax your posture, he says. Now gather up your hands and let them come down. Our fingertips fall, tapping and tapping at high speeds. Coach tells us to angle the palms and deliver swift, light chops up and down the back. Next week, you'll switch places with your partner, he says, when the hour is up. That way both of you learn and you don't overwork your hands. A massage therapist who overworks her hands isn't going to last long. Right, Veronica whispers. Wouldn't that be a pity? I giggle and accidentally jab her between her ribs. She howls, but then she's laughing, and Coach says, well, someone is awake. And I'm thinking, Group 3 or not, I like this girl. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Yevgenia Dame. Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to reading the whole story. Thank
Thank you for
you.
having me.
Oh, this new version of Zoom. I haven't seen all these claps appear before. This is exciting. We've got we've got a lot of claps and hearts coming through the screen. Next up, we have K-Ming Chang. K-Ming Chang is a Lambda Literary Award winner, a National Book Foundation 5 under 35 honoree, a Kundiman Fellow, and an O. Henry Prize winner. She is the author of the novel Bestiary from Random House One World 2020, which was longlisted for the Center for Fiction First Novel Prize, the BCU Cabell First Novelist Award, and the Otherwise Award. In 2021, her chapbook Bone House was published by Bull City Press. Her story collection Gods of Want from One World Random House won a Lambda Literary Award, and her books have been translated into Spanish, Chinese, Korean, German, Turkish, and other languages. Her most recent books are Organ Meats from One World 2023 and a novella titled Cecilia from Coffee House Press in 2024. Her next novel, Needlemouth, is forthcoming from Simon & Schuster this coming October. Give it up for K-Ming Chang.
Hi all. It's such an honor to read with you all. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my story that's forthcoming in issue 56. Um, it is very lightly based on an elementary school interaction, playground interaction. I feel like as many of my stories are, but it kind of spiraled a bit. So this story is titled Female Dog. There's a new word going around, and if you aren't careful, you might catch it. Mimi caught it last week, and now she won't stop humping everything in the classroom. The teacher locked her in the timeout closet, but she just impregnates the contents. The broom gives birth to a litter of little straw wigs. The chalk sticks mate with moisture to become bone-white mud, and a single sponge has proliferated into several hundred. No one will tell me what the word is. It's very bad, Jalan says. So bad that if anyone hears you say it, you'll be scolded, maybe even beaten. That doesn't seem like much of a punishment to me, but I understand the severity of the word's symptoms. To avoid catching the word, we whisper around it. The word means female dog, Jalan says when I beg. The word is female dog, I always say. No, she says, rolling her eyes, leaning in again. The word means female dog. In truth, I understood her fine the first time, but I'm enamored with the sensation of Jalan's breath against my cheek. The way her syllables steam my pores, the way my sweat sheens out like silver worms, desperate to burrow inside the intricate canals of her ears. I would like to be digested by Jalan's ears, to become one of the terrible words Jalan knows but won't share. I would like to be shut up forever in the cellar of her sinuses. Jalan is the keeper of obscenity, and she's the one who taught me the word ass, which means both donkey and butt. It's a word men like to shout at us with a few attachments, and it's a word our mothers don't like us to repeat. My favorite food is the ass of a pig, and Jalan's favorite food is the breast and bones of a pigeon. Jalan is special because she can make lanyards, not the ordinary cubic ones with flat sides and two colors, but complicated twisting lanyards, ones that resemble living limbs or gnarled spines, lanyards woven with strands of pure light, lanyards made of human hair. Those are especially powerful, she says, because they can be used to curse people. I tell her we're already cursed. Jalan was cursed from birth to be forgotten by her mother, who inherited early onset dementia from her own mother, who was concussed as a child by her father. I was cursed to be remembered too often, remembered even before I was born. My grandmother recalled me while she was pregnant with my mother, my face invading her most precious memories, which were few. If she were being generous, maybe only two. One was the time she and her cousin stole a watermelon from a neighbor's field and smashed it open with that, the flesh hard as coral but still sweet, chipping their teeth. And now when she remembers it, all her cousins' faces are replaced with mine, and the melon is a face too. The melon has pores like my own. The melon has my haircut, and when she smashes it open with her back, my brains bumble out like knotted rope, wet and frayed. You ruined it for me, my grandmother says. I had one happy memory and you bled all over it. The one instance in my life when I had no one to take care of, only something to destroy with my teeth, and you've gone and stolen that from me. Thanks to your presence infecting my memory, I no longer have a life when I wasn't a mother. But maybe it's easier to undo a curse when it's inside the body of a lanyard, when it is as passive and dead as human hair, when it can be incinerated or drowned or flushed down the toilet. The other girls barter for Jalan's lanyards, and they're entitled enough to solicit her labor for free. They bring Jalan long locks of their hair and say, "Can you just start it for me? If you just start it, I can finish it." Jalan will obey, and the girls will feign ignorance, standing over her with the started lanyard in their hands, acting like they don't know how to proceed, until at last, Jalan is so frustrated she snatches the lanyard back and finishes it herself, yanking the lock taut, nodding it off. I tell Jalan she's being exploited. She looks at me very seriously and says, "I just can't stand when people ruin my beginning. I can't stand something soiled before it started. It's just so unfair I could kill myself." Jalan likes me because I've never asked anything of her except that she revealed to me the word. The curiosity weighs on me as heavily as a pregnancy. I cannot bear to carry the question of it any longer. Every day I ask her to tell me, please tell me the word, the bad one, the one that means female dog, the one that will get us into so much trouble. Please just tell me. I can't stand being the only one who doesn't know. But Jalan refuses. She teases me, leaning in to whisper, snagging me on the hook of hope, but she releases me always. Catching the word is extremely dangerous, Jalan says. We can't play. Every day, more and more girls are catching it. My neighbor Alice started chasing cars and was flattened by one, her intestines spelling the horizon. Her mother knelt in the street and clawed the girl off the asphalt, one fistful of flesh at a time, leaving behind only the bones, the perfect skeleton arranged on the road, splayed out like a map of calcified rivers, somehow intact despite being run over. Then there was our classmate whose name I can't remember, only that she was teased for her crooked teeth, mismatched as if they'd been harvested from the mouths of different species. One sharp tooth, one feline canine, the rest of them dog. Being part dog already, she was overly affectionate toward men and was found dead one day in the downstairs bathroom, along with a note naming the betrayer of her unconditional devotion. Jalan alone had no sympathy for the girl. No love should be unconditional, Jalan says. The conditions should be written very clearly. When the conditions are battered, you should flee. For example, I love you because you are cursed like me, but in an opposite way, and because you require nothing of me. You love me because I know the word, but I don't let you catch it. And secretly, you adore me for protecting you, for being the only one in the world who is willing to. You may beg me day after day to reveal the word to you. You may say it's a mercy, catching it already, better sooner than later, better now when you have the whole rest of your life to get used to it, to adjust yourself to the symptoms, to build your life around your emergent desire to chase your own tail in circles. But in fact, you cling to me because you know I'll never expose you to it. You may beg, but I'll never let you be anything else. You are all I exist. Do you understand me? I mean to say, you're the only thing of me in this world. Here on earth, there exists nothing of me except you. And then it continues on. That's an excerpt. Thank you.
Amazing. Give it up for K-Ming Chang. Thank you so much. It's such a joy to hear our fiction writers and our fiction contributors read, because as a poetry editor, I don't get to see that side of things until the issue comes out, and then I'm always so amazed. So it was so great to hear you both. Coincidentally, we had our fiction readers, and then the next three readers we have today are poets. So I'm going to take this moment to offer a few announcements, particularly because I was also just going into the deep dive of Adroit history, and I realized that K-Ming was one of our very first Gregory Janician scholars in poetry as well, like way back, I think 8 years ago. Um, in our next issue, you will see some of our Gregory Janician scholars, as well as our Anthony V. Smith-So scholars in fiction, and these scholars are awards given to writers who have yet to publish full-length books. Adroit also has a mentorship program in the summer for high school students, as well as prizes for high school students and college students as well. And prize submissions are coming up. So if you are a teacher who works with undergraduates or high school students, please, please, please go to our website, look up the Adroit prizes. Um, there are fee waivers for those who can't afford the fee, and we honor many, many students, as many as possible. We honor prize winners, but along with finalists, semifinalists, and students that we want to commend as well. We also have a new editor's prize that we just began last year for poets of all backgrounds, as well as our active event planning and all of the things that we do at AWP. And so if you're going to AWP in March, we would love to see you there. For the last few years, we've been hosting some salons. So if you're somebody here who would like to attend one of those or would like more information, please reach out to one of us. We also have our booth every year at the AWP Book Fair, so please come check us out. We are selling t-shirts and hats, and this year, for the first time, we have totes that we're selling as well. A lot of our contributors will come and do signings. And we are also hosting a Thursday night reading at AWP in Baltimore with Plowshares and Kenyon Review. There are a number of readers reading, and from Adroit, we will have Victoria Chang as well as James Allen Hall. So please, please come check us out there. If you would like to contribute to the Adroit Journal, or you would like to show your appreciation for this free journal and for the programs that we run, this is an all volunteer staff. If you look at our masthead, we have dozens and dozens of volunteers who make this place run. And we are, in order to have our prizes and have our many different events, we do take donations. We are a 501(c)(3). Heidi just said in the chat that you can follow us on Instagram, and you can also donate at our donation page, and it is tax deductible. So now we will move on to the poets of the evening. And first up, we have the lovely Carolina Abaid. And I will read Carolina's bio. Carolina Abaid is a multimedia poet. She is the author of You Asked Me to Talk About the Interior from Noemi Press, 2016, and the chapbook Dour Wonder, A Brief Record of Facts from Albion Books, 2023. Her next book, Hide, is forthcoming very soon in early March from Grey Wolf Press in winter 2026 in March. And her work has been supported by the Stadler Center for Poetry at Bucknell University, Breadloaf, Canto Mundo, the NEA, and a residency fellowship from the Lannan Foundation. Please give it up for Carolina Abaid.
Thank you so much. I am feeling really lucky to be here with you, and thanks so much for inviting me. I'm going to read from the book Hide. I just received finished copies, so this is technically the first time I'm reading from the actual object. Disambiguation of Maria. Ask her if she is cold. Ask her if she needs to hide. Fold her into a rectangle and slip her into your breast pocket. She will record the auditory data regarding the condition of the lungs. Mother dreaming, mother turning into sleep, mother changing the channel, mother overturning underwater. Mother mostly grows a sunflower head bending down. Here, the here-ness of a photo. Memory mostly touchable. Miriam and Aziza pixelated. Aziza on the left, Miriam, my grandmother, on the right. Mid-1950s Birzette. Aziza smiles without parting her lips. Don't halo me. how to tell what time of day it is by measuring the length and direction of Aziza's shadow on Miriam's clothes. Flower garland embroideries, shadow embroideries. My middle name, Miriam, bitter sea. In it, a measurable distance of minutes and miles and languages and thought and bulldozers wrecking the plot and razor wire and the black magnetic tape holding voices, also a measurable distance. On mute, purple wild leek and toothpick weed. My father has never gone back. They declared him an undesirable, his name typed on a list. They all had leaving in common. Miriam's hand is a homeland on Aziza's shoulder, Lena says. Is still in question. The weather is raspy with low winds in the picture. Are you grateful for this lineage? Before it autocorrects, I type grateful, full of grace, not something grated. Any more is to admit the circumstances of one's life stagger down from the great diminishment into smaller shreds. Are you grateful? Yes, says the shred part of the voice. In it, my lord, the head becomes a seed pod rattling. Something irreplaceable, irrefutable dies, something iridescent from the river to the sea. See the registers hidden in the cochlea, Lord, hidden in the gray matter, my lord. You say you don't remember your dreams. How do messages launch from one place and reach another? You search for them in the shrubs with helicopter light. And this next poem, Winternet, is in the issue 56. I'm still working on it, the domed visual field of the dreamer, tiled with microscopically tiny mirrors arranged in a matrix. Grief technologies and their technicians. We bring good things to life, reads the sticker on the audio cassette player I dubbed telepathy machine. Ritual. Play side A. Hear how it reverberates and saturates the room with its room tone. Re-record those soundings with a phone. Mothers are works in progress, enclosures that suggest a construction of subjectivity. A nest, ice fort, air raid fallout, tent, windpipe. To write poetry after Gaza, I try to dissolve, disaggregate, disentangle the I out of feelings. Genocide calendar, disgust, disbelief, dyspeptic, sleepless fullness. It's no longer morning again. I had a vision of a mother-like figment, amniotic gray and gold glow. First a posture, then a face, then out of the face, telegraphic ribbons of spoken words. Gravity sinks its grace. Which I are we talking about anyway? The I, or the I, or the I, or the AI, the I. All vowel grace note. Sing with your seeing organs. I close both eyes to trace the root system collective memory is, taps and tendrils. I am glad she isn't alive to see what's happening to Gaza, Baba says. When I play a tape of conversations, everyone young again. Plant matter of peonies, rose petals, marigolds, and lavender. The globes of red gomphrena, striped outer petals of the lily, forget-me-nots, luxurious ghosts of jasmines and buds of the silk tree, calendula and chrysanthemum, dropped in handfuls over her box of ashes. Her mother would take my temperature by nestling her prickly chin into the pit of my eye, pressing in for tens of seconds as turned into a theater screen with jots of silver and green beats narrating the fever. Video after video, I see this happening. Adjustable teeth of the land-clearing blade will annihilate memory. Ritual. On the blank side, hold record and play at the same time. Record yourself listening. Mother grief is a movement like any water, seeping into paper, turning thick and overcast, warped and noisy. Aquí se han hecho ya de noche. Thank you. I really look forward to the issue.
Thank you so much. Give it up for Carolina Abade. You know, it's amazing to see these words and see the poems in print, and then to hear, especially Winternet, in your voice is so powerful. And for those of you who are curious to know what all of our poems and stories sound like in the author's voice, many of them choose to record their pieces. So if you go online when the issue is released or to any of our previous issues, you can see recordings or hear recordings of the poems and prose pieces in our journal. Next up, we have Amy Nezukumatatil, who is unable to make it because she is in the middle of a power outage in Mississippi. But I will read her bio and one of the poems that we are publishing in issue 56, which is out this week. Amy Nezukumatatil is the New York Times bestselling author of 2 illustrated collections of essays, Bite by Bite and World of Wonders. Honors include a poetry fellowship from the National Endowment for the Arts, U.S. Artists, and the Guggenheim Foundation. A professor for over 25 years, she serves as a firefly guide for the Mississippi State Parks and won the North American Association of Environmental Educators Pepe Marcos Iga Award for Innovation in Environmental Education. Her newest poetry book is Night Owl, also due out in March, and it looks like we have a really great publishing year this year. And we have 3 of Amy's poems from her book Night Owl in issue 56, and I will just read one of them. This one is called Animals in Fall, and it begins with an epigraph from American Bird Conservancy. And the epigraph says, a major bird collision event occurred in Chicago, Illinois in 2023, killing nearly 1,000 migrating birds, the highest number on record. The birds died after colliding into the McCormick Place during the height of their annual fall migration. Animals in Fall by Amy Nezukumatatil. News of yet another bird strike from too many lights, too many panes of glass. When we work at night with lights on, we might as well be a snake thieving yet another blue egg into its ridiculous mouth. And still, I love the night for the quiet. I love the night for the sounds. I love to think under the sound of birds migrating above me and just a line of faint pink just beginning to ink above the trees. For my children, the days of dress up for Halloween are gone. For years, I pinned felt tentacles, stitched feathers to their hoodies, or made a light-up mask from paper mache and cardboard. Today, the boys drove off to school, one quiet, one surly over who knows what slight. So much of what I thought I'd remember have fluttered away. Each poem is a soft scrap we tuck and poke into our nests. But why should all of this make me cry? As soon as they were able, we taught them how to swim, undulate, pulse, and fly. Amy Nezukumatatil. And finally, we have Dan Waldman. D.S. Waldman is the author of the poetry collection Atria from Liverwhite Norton, 2026. When is it coming out in 2026?
Next month.
Next month. So much happening this winter to keep us cozy while the weather is barraging us and the world as well. Okay, D.S. Waldman is the author of the poetry collection Atria, coming out next month from Norton, Liverwrite, and his writing has appeared in The New Yorker, The Atlantic, Los Angeles Review of Books, Ziziva, and many other publications. A former Wallace Stegner Fellow at Stanford University and recipient of Poetry Society of America's Lucille Medwick Memorial Award, Waldman lives and teaches creative writing in New York City. Give it up for D.S. Waldman.
Eugenia, thank you. It's so nice to read with these like excellent writers. And like Carolina, I recently received my finished copies of my book, and I'm going to be reading from that. The piece I'm going to read is a bit longer, so I'll just read one. But stylistically, it's similar to the pieces that I have coming out in this issue of Adroit. The piece is called 33. It was written on the occasion of my 33rd birthday. 33. Could be half my life, could be all of it. Could be a third, Gabby said, raising a glass of a chilled orange wine the server described as funky. Evenings in Berkeley condescended to words like funky, the wealthy down from the hills for a plate of gnocchi and delicata squash, shimmering headlights across the rain-streaked window. I had little interest in 99, but didn't say so. Over and again that week, we'd talked about time, types of ways to measure and experience the colonial origins of time systems, and one night became unspeakably aroused at the distinction between time as a universal fact and time as contained by a round plastic clock with tick marks and numbers and sharp-pointed arms. At some point, our neighbor Gloria banged on the wall, and the next day we had to buy her flowers, write a little note. My brother died when he was 28, I said to Gabby. I'm 5 years older now than my older brother. It wasn't sympathy I was looking for, but language. It's okay, I'm okay, just having an experience. The server came with a little wicker basket of bread. Gabby had read a book about time and learned there exist certain apps that determine how many years we each have left to live. Check the box next to the foods you eat 3 or more times a week. On average, how many miles do you walk each day? Do you live alone? We did it there at the table, leaning back when the server came with our salads, tomato and burrata, arugula, lemon juice, parm. She waited for me to finish so we could click the submit button at the same time. But when we did, a little screen came up prompting us to upgrade to premium, $5.99 a month to see your remaining time on Earth, chart your progress as you make meaningful changes to your lifestyle. Long before he died, I had this fleeting sense now and then that I would outlive my brother. For sure, he didn't live well, the woeful reserve, the hot browns. But even when we were kids, he had this way of saying things. He refused a pocket watch from our grandfather, for instance, said he couldn't bear taking from his grandfather something with such sentimental value. I guess our great-grandfather had brought it in from Wroclaw. A man who dies at 28 was, his whole life, a man who was going to die at 28. Our grandpa gave it to me a few years later for my birthday. There was that stretch in middle school when the Illmatic album resonated with him in a way I didn't really understand, especially the song and chorus everyone knows. I'd hear it through his closed door on loop some nights, and I would sometimes repeat the lyrics myself at school to friends. These moments and experiences all started to overlay one another at the restaurant. I was hugging my grandfather on University Ave in Berkeley, thanking him for the watch. I was eating hot browns with Gabby outside my brother's door. Really, the salad was delicious, and I said so, and I took Gabby's hand. She'd finished her wine, and the couple next to us had gone. I told her how crazy it is. This time last year, we didn't even know each other. I said the watch works great, just needs a little winding. I forgive you for drinking and dying and that thing you said in Orlando about my teeth. Happy birthday, Gabby said, netting her fingers into mine. Tuna carpaccio, boar ragu with new potatoes and broccolini, an even pour of the orange wine. Thank you.
Give it up for Dan Waldman. Did Dan disappear? No. Oh, he's
I'm
right
here
there.
somewhere.
Oh, okay, okay. Did you have more poems?
Yeah, I could read more. Yeah. Sorry, I never know how long a thing is going to take. So let me go back in and I'll read one more.
Oh, sure. I just wasn't sure if I got pinned, if that was, yeah. But we'd love to hear
Sure.
another one if you've got it. We've got the time.
Yeah, no problem. Um, I'll read one. It's the first poem in the book. It's called Calder, as in the artist Alexander Calder, whose mobiles many might be familiar with. I wrote the poem in a room full of his mobiles at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art a few years ago. Calder. It is the act of entering that creates loneliness. I stand at first in the corner and can't bear it, the stillness of them, a child looking up from a crib, reaching. The door at my back leads to a balcony and is locked, boxing wind out of the composition. The thing about art, and especially three-dimensional art, is I expect it always to teach me something. The dialogue between the sun and dew flowers tracking east, the head turning to catch in its gaze the leg of the stranger as they leave the room. I begin to move, to walk about the mobiles. Outside on the balcony, leaves skitter in wind, daylight in and out behind clouds. In the dream I've been having lately is how one might begin a poem in this room. In mine, at a party, I look up and am told I'm the oldest in the room by several rotations, a condemnation, a measure of both time and distance. Last night, waking from this or another dream, I looked through a scatter of Polaroids on the bedside table. In one, she stands next to a Joshua tree. The sky is blue and cold, and she smiles, mouth closed, at the camera. A family enters, and the child moves about the mobiles in a whirl, a step ahead of his mother. Sunlight in a wedge on the wall, over a quotation from the artist. Disparity in form, color, size, weight, motion is what makes a composition. And when the child reaches for one of them, one of the red spades accenting the dark wire, his mother waits. She lets him touch it once and briefly before taking away his hand. I'll stop there. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Dan. And thank you so much to all of our readers this evening. We had Eugenia Dame, K-Ming Chang, Carolina Abaid, Amy Nezukumatatil, and D.S. Waldman. Please, please check out issue 56, which will be released later this week. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, please go ahead to theadroitjournal.org and go ahead and do that. If you loved our free programming today, and if you love our journal, which is also free, please feel free to donate. Again, I think we're going to have the link again in the chat. $5, $10, anything that you have to contribute helps. So thank you all so much for being here. We could not do this without the people who are readers and who are part of our community. So thank you all so much. And I hope you all have a very safe evening. Good night.